I'm here in Daz Studio. I have a normal Victoria 4 character loading. And we're going to tackle how do we get this character from here to unit with everything intact, everything working. So what I'm going to do is, first things first, with Vicky selected, I'm going to go up to edit and I'm going to add a level of detail for it. I'm going to pick the 4K. That seems to be a pretty good one. I accept all the defaults. Say OK. Create a little tag that says it's a 4K. It thinks about it for a second and voila, you can see changes to the face, etc. that reflect that this is here. Now, that being true, that's great, but we don't have any levels of details for the rest. So I'm going to grab my Decimator. If you don't have it open, it's available here under tabs, and you can select Decimator. But I open it up here, stretch it out, give myself a little bit more room. I'm going to grab these three and say prepare to decimate. Daz will think about it for a second. It'll bring up our information here. And then I'm going to go through them one by one. So the first thing is the road shorts. So I'm going to come over here, select the road shorts, focus on them. Now remember, what we're trying to do is get the minimum we can get without losing necessary details. So I'm just going to start cranking it down. Cranking it down. There we go, 1500 polys. I could probably go a little bit lower, but this will serve. Then I'm going to go to the top. So I'm just going to slide up here to it so I can see it. Grab the top. And again, I'm going to pull it down. Now this one could be tricky because of those strings. So not necessarily the best choice, but it'll work. There we go. About 3000. I can live with that. Then we go to the leggings. Slide back down real quick here. They're very simple. I should be able to stick those way down here. Let's try 800 now. See, notice I get those peek throughs. Slide it up till all those go away. There we go. 1600. No poke throughs that are going to bother me. Then let's see what's next. The road boots. Select those. Move down. And I like to turn with boots. Turn them to the side. It gives you a better view. So crank it way down here to the range, 5,000. 3,000. These are holding up pretty nice. 2,000. Let's try 1,600. Yeah, that's a nice compromise as far as quality goes, and it still looks decent. And you'll notice we're down to 7,800. I'm going to create an LOD for my outfit. Leave it labeled the same. Tell Decimator it's done. That being done, pop it back over here. Select Victoria. Square up my scene so I can see what I'm doing. Now, this is all well and good, but we do need to select Texture Atlas for the whole ball of wax. You can do it any way you want. I'm just going to come here to Edit, select Texture Atlas. It'll grab up an info panel here, and you'll notice that initially all it's showing is image 1, which is definitely not good enough. So I'm going to say cancel. I'm going to select, ooh, almost forgot, the hair I'm wearing. I want to definitely add a decimator for that too. So I'm going to prepare to decimate it. I'll focus on it in my scene. Turn a little bit. It's got 20,000 polygons. Let's try to get it down to about 3. Let's see how that holds up. Looks okay from here. Make sure there's no weird poke through issues. Great LOD. Almost forgot. That one will bite you in the butt if you don't see it. You'll end up with this 30,000 polygon hair. Sorry. So as I was saying, grab everything in your scene. Then go to your Texture Atlas. And now you see all of your stuff here. One of the things I do recommend you take a second to do is look at your textures here. And if there's anything you can reduce the texture size on, you might want to do so. Right? So, like eyelashes. Do I really need something that big? No. So double click on it, type in the value you want. Eyes, 2.5 is good. Limbs, 0.5. Teeth. Morphs aren't supported in Unity. I probably will never see her teeth. So, however, her torso, for her naturally, I like the face. I like to have a little bit more detail in. That way when I change outfits, I'm not going to get any nasty surprises. Otherwise, I'll leave it all alone. I will say auto arrange. It'll think about it for just a second here. Maybe longer than a second, I apologize. And we get our textures. For right now, I'm not going to play with resizing things, moving them around. I'm just going to say okay, because this is for demonstration. I'm going to give her a name. We're going to call it Tune UV. I'm going to pick a location. In my case, since I'm working with Daz and I'm working with Unity, I have a selection of character areas that I'm working on. I have a working characters folder here, and I have a selection for Daz characters. I'm going to go in here and make a new folder. We're going to call it Mary. We're going to throw her images in there. I'll even be nice and crank it up to 1024 so I get some nice quality. What I don't need though is anything else. I'm just going to use diffuse, opacity, and bump. Basic stuff. I'm going to accept. What that does is in the background it says, okay, now that you've done this, write out copies of those files, which it's doing. And as soon as it's written out copies of those files, it will apply them in your scene within Daz and close this window. And again, apparently today it's being very slow. So again, my apologies. There we go. So here she is with her basic texturing on, right? So it still looks pretty decent. Certainly not bad. I mean, remember, when you're in Unity, you're probably going to be seeing your characters about this big. So it makes a difference. So I can unselect everything. OCD, I can't help having it this way. And then I'm going to grab Vicky, I'm going to center it. And then what I'm going to do is, now that I have all my pieces set, I know that it's going to work just fine. By the way, some people have asked about idles. So if I come down here and I select Vicky and I grab an idle, you know, your usual stuff, you can do that too. I'll even throw one in here so you can see it. They're huge. Okay. Basically what you need to do is, it's not for real purposes, I'll pull a 6 seconds worth of this out of here. And to make animations work in Unity, you have to bake the Studio keyframes. So right click in your animate, bake them. Daz will be like, you really want to bake these things? And you'll be like, yes, yes please. What it'll do is it'll think about it for a second behind the scenes. It will bake your keyframes over to the timeline, and then it will disable the Vicky channel here, so your animate no longer has an effect on what you're doing. That's one of my idols, by the way, but that's fine. Let's see.